I stood there in the kitchen, staring at the pot of coffee I had brewed, when my phone buzzed on the counter. It was Marissa, my wife, or at least she still was, legally speaking. The text popped up, and I swear it felt like someone had thrown a bucket of icy water over my head. Hey, just a heads up. Mom's hosting a small thing for Eli's birthday Saturday. We kept it close, just family. Hope you understand. I read it once, then twice, because my head couldn't catch up with what my eyes were seeing. Just family. Eli's my kid, my little boy, the one I'd rocked to sleep 100 times, the one whose diapers I changed in the middle of the night while Marissa snored away. His first birthday, and I'm not invited? My chest clenched like someone had grabbed my heart and crushed it. I blinked, staring at the screen, trying to make sense of everything, but all I could feel was the biting ache of betrayal, digging deeper with every second. I couldn't just let it fester. My hands were shaking, but I hit the call button anyway. Marissa picked up after 2 rings, her voice all bright and breezy, like she was talking about the weather. "It's just a birthday, Cal. Don't make it a thing." Don't make it a thing. My mouth clenched so tight I thought my teeth might crack. This wasn't some random cookout or a girls' night out. It was Eli's first birthday. A milestone. I'd been visualizing for months. I'd stayed up late imagining the cake, the goofy grin he'd have when we sang to him, the way I'd pick him up and tell him he was the best thing I'd ever made, and now she was acting like it was nothing, like I was overreacting for wanting to be there. I tried to keep my voice steady, but it came out harsh, raw. "He's my son, too, Marissa. How is this not a thing?" She sighed, that tiny huff she does when she's annoyed, and added, "Look, it's Mom's thing." She wanted it little. "You'll see him another day." Another day? Like I was some weekend visitor. Not his dad. I hung up. My pulse thundered in my ears, and before I could stop myself, I dialed Doreen, Marissa's mom. She answered with that false pleasant tone she uses when she's prepared to shut me down. "Callum, hey, what's this regarding?" I didn't waste time. "Why am I not invited to Eli's birthday?" She didn't even hesitate, just launched right in. "It's more of a maternal side event. Nothing personal. We're keeping it simple." Nothing personal? I almost laughed, but it caught in my throat like a jagged rock. Eli's my kid, and they were boxing me out like I was some distant cousin who sends a card once a year. I wanted to yell, to tell her how bad this was, but she kept going, her voice stern now. "You're making this harder than it needs to be, Callum. It's one day." One day? My son's first birthday? I hung up on her too, my hands shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. I walked into the living room still reeling, and there it was, a half-finished Lego tower. Eli had been playing with it the last time he was here. Those little blue and red bricks scattered around the coffee table hit me like a punch to the gut. I could still feel his pudgy hands piling them up, hear his giggle when they'd fall over. My boy, my life. And they were taking me out of it. Something snapped inside me. This hot, angry thing I couldn't push down anymore. Okay? If they didn't want me there, if I wasn't family enough for them, then I wouldn't be around at all. I grabbed my phone again, my fingers hovering over the screen, and I started looking, not just for a way out of the house, a way out of this whole mess they'd manufactured. They could have their maternal side event without me. I'd be gone, and they'd realize what it felt like to miss someone who mattered. I didn't know where I was heading yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't sticking around to beg for a seat at a table they didn't even set for me. My heart was still beating. But now it wasn't just hurt, it was purpose. I'd show them. I didn't need their permission to live my life, to feel like I mattered. Eli might not remember this birthday, but I damn sure would remember how they made me feel, and I wasn't going to let it happen again. "First time in Jackson?" he questioned, staring at me in the rearview mirror as he sped away from the airport. "Yes," I responded, sinking onto the bench. "Needed a change?" He chuckled, low and easy. You chose a fantastic site for it. Nothing like these mountains to cleanse your head. I didn't talk much after that, just watched out the window as the town slipped by. Tiny stores with wooden signs, snow piled up on the curbs, peaks rising higher the further we went. Wes kept talking, pointing out landmarks, telling me about some bar with the best chili in town. I nodded along, somewhat listening, but mostly absorbing it all. The stillness, the space, the fact that no one here recognized me or cared why I'd come. The shuttle wound up a tiny road, trees closing in, on both sides, and suddenly there it was, my cabin. It sat alone, curled against a hill, all dark wood and wide windows shining soft in the dimming light. Wes dropped me off with a wave. Enjoy the solitude, man. Holler if you need a ride back. I thanked him and lugged my bag up the steps, the cold cutting at my fingertips as I fumbled with the key. The door slammed wide and I froze. Inside, a fire was already roaring in the stone fireplace, the heat rushing over me like a welcome. Fleece blankets were thrown over a big leather couch, and those floor-to-ceiling windows showed nothing but snow and trees stretching out long into the distance. Outside, a hot tub steamed under a tiny overhang, the water bubbling quietly. It was wonderful, better than I'd anticipated when I booked it in my angry days back home. I put my suitcase down and moved to the windows, pressing my hand against the cold glass. The silence was thick, broken only by the pop of the fire. It felt like a reset button had been pushed. No beeping phone, no people telling me what I should feel. Just me and this place. I pulled out my phone, snapped a quick selfie with the fire glowing behind me, and posted it. No balloons, no controversy, just silence. I didn't check the likes right away, just tossed the phone onto the couch and grabbed a drink from the little fridge the lodge had supplied. The first sip was cold, biting, and I slumped into the couch, letting the warmth from the fire sink into my bones. This was what I'd needed, not just a trip, but clarity. Something to remind me I didn't have to beg for a place in anyone's life. The cabin smelled like pine and smoke, and I closed my eyes for a minute, listening to the wind outside. I could have stayed home, could have battled harder, to be at that party. Yet what would that have gotten me? A place at the edge of the table? A fake grin while Doreen made her little jabs? No. This was better. I opened my eyes and looked around again. The wooden beams overhead, the thick rug under my feet, the way the firelight danced on the walls. It wasn't just a hideout, it was mine. Something I'd chosen when they'd left me. No choice at all. I finished the beer, set the bottle down, and stood up to unpack. Not much. Just the sweaters and socks I'd brought, the gloves I'd bought last minute. But it felt good to settle in, to make this place real. I stepped outside to inspect the hot tub, the cold hitting me awake again. Steam rose in thick clouds, and I dipped my hand in. Hot. Nearly too hot. Perfect for later. The sky was darkening, stars beginning to peek through, and I stood there, hands in my pockets, letting it all sink in. Back home, they'd be setting things up for Eli's party tomorrow. Streamers. Cake, all that noise, and I wouldn't be there. A part of me ached at that, a brief, sharp pang when I thought of Eli's face. But I shoved it down. This wasn't about him. It was about them. About how they'd decided I didn't fit. I went back inside, the warmth wrapping around me again, and grabbed another drink. My phone was lighting up now. Likes, comments, possibly some texts. I ignored it. I didn't need confirmation from anyone back there. What I wanted was this, the crackle of the fire, the cold glass in my palm, the silence that let me hear my own thoughts for once. I sat back down, stretched my legs out, and let my mind wander. Tomorrow I'd hit the slopes, something I hadn't done since I was a kid. I'd scheduled a lesson, figured I'd start easy, but the thought of it, the speed, The chilly air rushing past made my pulse kick up a little. It was something fresh, something for me, not connected to anyone else's plans or rules. I took another sip, the beer settling me, and gazed at the fire. The logs shifted, sending up a spray of sparks, and I felt a small, sincere smile tug at my mouth. This wasn't just escape. It was liberation. They could have their party, their carefully crafted narrative. I had this, and it was already more than they ever could have given me.